There he is. Jayme CheeseSlice on the ones and twos, back in front of the camera, helping us out with talking back. How'd you like your new intro there?
I like it. It works. It works. People ask what kind of cheese. I'm like, well, it could be a slice of pizza, right? My original thought, though, is like just a slice of American cheese, like the crappy stuff that comes in the individual wrappers. But, I like better cheese than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, a cheese slice of pizza, that works too.
There we go. There we go. Okay, cool. Well, let's get to some of this. I know today we had the conversation with Kit and Daniel, Hardlens Media, talking about censorship. That one got a little racy. We've been talking about Palantir. We've been talking about the big beautiful bill. A bunch of other stuff going on. We obviously Israel. We've been talking about the top censored news and all the war crimes and all the protesting, and we had a little friendly debate on the Greta Thunberg situation. But let's see what the people have to say about it. Jayme, what do we got?
All right. Well, let's go start back from the start of the show here. You play that video at the very beginning with the Zion talking about the trying to basically censor anti-Zionists, calling us like we're the problem. The people asking for peace and asking for like acceptance and no censorship. We're the ones who are the problem. So this is from Wichigo. Zio Scum Matthew Miller looked like he was thoroughly enjoyed the genocide. He's a war criminal. So that was from early on.
Yeah.
I mean, I just agree with that. So
yeah,
like that video is really hard to watch. It's like I wouldn't even want to share it just because it's so bad. Like it's so irritating, but I know you have to share it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's I mean, it's to remind people how bad it gets. If you're not affected by it, then that's a major problem. But we know our audience will be, and that's the point. So we have to remind ourselves this is not okay, and that's why
we're all affected
by it. We have to share it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So from all sentient beings, oh hi, thumbnail is fire. What's happening in the world is such a bunch of BS. So this also was during the intro, but just saying hi. Well, glad to be here. I like your thumbnail today.
Oh, cool. I'm trying to get better with those as far as not so crazy chaotic, because I know we do tend to do those, but I think it's good. Thank you so much, all sentient beings.
All right. Zootzilla, also this is from early on. We need to stop the genocide. But yes, I agree, Zootzilla. That's really what our position is, and that's the main point that the anti-Zionists are making. They're against the killing of a group of people.
Yeah, exactly.
But somehow the anti-Zionists are the Nazis. These people are masters of projection.
They are. They are, and they never have to give us any proof. They just have it's their feelings that really all they have. They feel like the Palestinians want to kill them. They feel like the Palestinian babies are going to grow up and want to kill them. They feel these things, and the feeling's enough. They feel that if they want on October 7th, they wanted to kill all of us if they could. You feel, we don't have to even go with feelings. We got it right. We got literally your war crimes right here in our palm of our hands. We don't even have to go what they want to do. What you are doing, you are having barbecues in front of people starving. You are trying on lingerie of women you just murdered and sharing them on social. You are you are murdering aid workers and medics, and you are targeting and blowing the heads off of babies, and you're laughing about it. So, yeah, I don't think we have to go with any feelings, but it seems to be all they have are the feelings. And that seems to be enough to push this stupid anti-Semitism is the worst thing we have imaginable in this country right now. It's all feelings. They're made up.
And it's working on a a lot of people in the country, sadly. They've been doing this for decades. They're experts at it. It's starting to crack. I mean, you see a lot of people rejecting it, but there's still a significant portion of the population who buys into it.
Yeah.
Which is sad. Listening to the a-hole advocating for repression of free speech, which is critical of Zionism and anti-genocide, was sickening. Yes, Molly Littlebird is representing my feelings on watching that video as well.
100%.
I think this audience kind of gets that is going to give you like 99% of this audience are going to give that reaction.
Yeah.
All right. Also from Molly Littlebird. This was about the child that was speaking about from Palestine and what they are doing to the what do you call them, the survivors, the refugees, if you will. So she says, it is so horrific that a child this age is having to speak about this genocide. And that kid was right on, spot on. I just wish it was in English so more people here would actually hear what he had to say.
So when I press play on that, I realized, okay, yeah, we're gonna have to slow it down and narrate. And we always have sometimes we have that issue with there's a timing issue, and I gotta pause it, and we have little technical issues. What I did feel bad on top of that, I felt bad that we're having this kid tell his story in the middle of a top censor, like a countdown, and like these are the moments I feel like we're not even doing it justice. It's not even fair, and no one else is playing it. We don't see it on any other news. Obviously, not even the newly black-pilled Pierce Morgan, which is, again, that's just him going, "Oh, I didn't realize." Yeah.
Like, I know people are really tough on Pierce, but my feeling is, look, at least he's had the voices on the last like 2 years, right?
So he's had the debates, but he's played dumb. Now he's had this aha moment. Now he's getting attacked by Zionists. Not even he is going to make time in his show to give that boy the attention he deserves. He deserves the platform. And so here I am trying to read it, translate, slow it down, work on the tech. And I got it in the middle of a countdown of top censored news. And it's frustrating, man, because I know like it touches that emotional chord in us. And I can't even do it justice. We're trying our best, but there's so many boys like that didn't get on camera, or that aren't being. We don't even know that they're screaming out loud. They're screaming help right now. We're not seeing it, and it sucks. But we're doing what we can, I guess, the best we can.
And what he said was very powerful and very important. And coming from a boy in that situation, it really sends the message home. But because it's not in English, it's so easy for so many people to just ignore it and just not even pay attention to it, because you have to read. But I mean, if somebody else gave that same speech, like just anybody, like if you did it, nobody would care. But because the kid is over there experiencing it right now, it's so much more powerful. But it's easy to ignore, and it's just so frustrating. A lot of people just tuning it out. But I know, I mean, but the thing is, you do see it is starting to creep through, like there's so much of this stuff on the internet. Even people who were taking Israel's side from the start can't ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
So, maybe the tide will turn, but I'm still skeptical. Like, these guys are so super duper powerful.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I mean, we're up against a juggernaut here. All right. This is from Which to Go, and somebody else posted something too, but he had the quote in here. So maybe we should wait on this, but this is a quote from Twitter. I believe this was Elon Musk's Twitter account he did during the show. Time to drop the big reality bomb. @real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald Trump. So this is from Elon Musk tweeting on Twitter. And I looked up the tweet. It is there. Unfortunately, I didn't get it screen shared. So it's something I think we'll have to look into a little bit more. So there looks like there is a war between Elon and Trump now. Like the bromance is over. But Elon got what he wanted. He was able to gut the public sector. So,
Jayme, thanks for grabbing this one. It's hard for us we have to cross-check and double-check, but if we're in the middle of a live, it's hard to tell. But, and then Wishigo, obviously, we trust Wishigo has been a great, loyal viewer, participant in our show. That does change things. It changes my conversation with Craig. We know Craig Pasu. We know he's right out of the gate. He's going to tell us this is kabuki theater. I try to keep a little more on the fence approach, just because you don't know, new information comes up like this. It might change things. It might be at least worth a follow-up discussion on why would Elon be allowed to say this if this was still theater, like Craig said. Yeah. This seems like there is a problem. There is a crack in the dam, a real one. That's from this. If this checks out, which it sounds like it does, we got a problem if he is blaming the Epstein file non-release on the president of the United States who he helped get elected. This could be a massive problem.
Now,
of course, we know there's more than that of why it's not being released. Who knows? Maybe Elon's trying to get cool with the people he lost. He lost all of his environmentalist lefties. They hate him now. They're burning up the Tesla.
Yeah, he needs to get Tesla back.
And saying these things might get them to go, oh, did Elon get out of his horrible spell Trump had him on for the last couple of years? Is he back with us? Oh, because they were sharing that out, right? The left loves sharing out. Did you know Trump's on the list? That's what it's like. Yeah, everyone's on that effing list. You guys know that, right? That all your Democratic people are also on the but they always focused on Trump. Well, here's Elon focusing on Trump on a tweet. This is pretty insane. I do think this changes things enough to have a follow-up conversation about it and keep our eye on it for sure.
Yeah. And Pasta like to say it's all kabuki theater. And I agree to a certain extent it is. I agree with the WWE analogy, but something a lot of people who aren't big fans of WWE know is there's a thing called a shoot where the wrestlers are actually having a real beef with each other when they go on stage, and they really are fighting because it's like a personal thing, and they call that a shoot. It's a real thing. So maybe this Elon Trump thing is a shoot in the WWE theater that is our political system.
And if we want to relate it to artist performing, there's actually a term called, so out of the wrestling ring, but onto the stage, there's a term called performance art. And performance art is where you cross the line of reality. You might be in some sort of character that is designed to get a reaction, but now that character is participating in real life happenings, interacting with people in a real way to get a reaction that's not scripted. It's about mixing breaking that fourth wall and mixing it up. And so whatever that fourth wall is in this analogy, I think that Elon broke it here. And I think that
breaking the script.
Yeah,
you're breaking the script, not necessarily the fourth wall.
So he's off script. He's off script. He's ad-libbing off script. And the performance art of it is that we don't know what this is going to lead to. We don't know the reaction, the results, the consequences. We don't know the consequences of this tweet being out in the interwebs, as they say. But let's see what happens. We got to keep an eye on this for sure. Thanks, Wish to Go, for the comment.
Yeah, I did find it here. Give me a second. Oh, here it is. So just so it's not BS. He didn't just make it up. It's actually there. So here's the tweet. Yeah. Time to drop the big reality bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they've not been made public. So that was the tweet from Elon. So
wow.
Right. It might be a big deal. There's the bromance is over.
The bromance is over. Okay. Well, we got to keep an eye on this because and look, our audiences know that there's more to Epstein than just Trump's on the list. Clearly, we're talking Mossad. Obviously, Elon's not going to go down that part of it. So this is just a very layered, 2-layered, 3-layered, but it's more layered than that. But again, this will shake things up for reals and not a joke. There's going to be consequences for this tweet. Let's just keep an eye on it. But yes, thanks for sharing that. We should go.
All right. And the next one here from Molly Littlebird again. Correct. They're the ones making the world hate them, and now they're the victims again. She's talking about Israel. I think this was part of the Greta Thunberg story.
Yes.
This is Leslie. Leslie speaking to Molly Littlebird.
Responding to Molly Littlebird. Yes. But yes, correct. Absolutely.
So Leslie summed up Molly's comment a little bit better.
Very good.
I picked this one. Then there's some Greta fans in our chat. Here is Go Greta, bless your heart, from All Sentient Beings. And Molly said, it'll be interesting to see if the Israelis bomb her boat with the international attention. I don't want to see it happen. I don't want to see that happen at all. I mean, however you feel about Greta, I think I don't know what to think about her. I think she's definitely being used. Now, is she in on being used? I don't know, maybe, but
do you think a shift has happened with her when she was the handpicked, selected face of the environmental shit? Has that changed, or she's still?
Look, I think she started out organic, and then they saw her and what impact she was having, and then the vultures swooped in grabbed her and found a way to use her, and then they elevated her to help their agenda, right?
Well,
But
I mean, I don't.
now
we
that
don't
that
disagree
green
on
stuff
how
has
it
kind of
began.
gone to the wayside, I think they kind of got rid of her, but she still wants to be an activist. I think that's a certainly plausible scenario.
It's plausible that that her use had been done. They were done.
They're done
for
using.
use
They're done
because
with it.
she got too old to have that young face anymore,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
Maybe
people
that
think of her as as a teenager, but she's like what, 22 now?
she's 25 or something.
No,
But
she's not that
she
old.
was able to pretend there was an element of innocence and youth that they were able to kind of keep her in that state for so long because she kind of kept that youth look. And then there was a moment they're like, we're done with, we don't need this anymore. That's a plausible scenario. And then she kind of, so even though Craig is saying, I get it, he's saying once you're captured, you are always captured. Once you're initiated in the gang, you can't leave the gang.
Not if she's a true believer. Like if she's a true believer, they're manipulating and using her real belief in doing good altruistic activism, but then she's being misguided into doing the psyop, right? So she's been compromised, but she doesn't even know it.
I just don't know who. I just don't know who's compromising her. Like I don't get this because you Google her now and it says that she's lost her mind. She's a narcissist. She's an anti-Semite.
Yeah,
she
they're
hates
burning
Jews.
her.
That's right now. That you never had anything hit on her, except maybe a Fox News piece about
it was the right. The right was,
but you had enough of CNN, MSNBC. You had enough of that to make her this face of goodness and humanity. That's not it. So I'm only making that distinction that goodness and humanity should equate to being on the side of Palestinians. That's what it should. So we're not seeing that on Google. We're not seeing that line up. So I'm just trying to figure out who is the one that is using her because it can't be the same people that were using her before. It has to be a different people.
If she's being used at all anymore. It's because it's possible she was thrown away, but she really believes in the activism and she's a do-gooder. And now she's acting on her own because she's been given the tools to know how to do it now.
Yeah.
But
and I want to be
who are using her.
I want to be clear.
A possibility.
I don't care what theater is taking place. This is dangerous shit. If you're going to put somebody in a boat, go out into this area where we have a history of the IDF of Israel shooting down ships. There's a strong history of them murdering people who are trying to come into Gaza. So don't tell me you are 100% convinced that she's totally safe. Even if there's a secret handshake, there's no way you're on that boat right now and thinking, yeah, we got this. Everything checks out. You can trust Israel. They told us, wink, wink, that she'll be fine. I don't believe that she's totally safe. There's no way. How do we trust Israel? They never do anything they say they're going to do or not do. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Jungle Jair says there are 11 other activists on that boat. Some of them are legit, and the entire trip is not a psyop. See, like, I don't know what to think about Greta. I don't like the possibilities. She's totally compromised. It's very real. I think it's a plausible explanation, but I don't think it's the only explanation. There are other real possibilities here. And I'm trying to give you something a little more reasonable, but there's the other side of the spectrum, which is no, she's totally legit. She's completely doing this because she really believes in it. And she's not a psyop at all. That's the other thing, the spectrum. And I think the truth is somewhere in the middle there where, but I don't know. I don't really know what it is. I don't hate on her. But some of the stuff she's been involved in has been obnoxious, but I don't necessarily think she's wrong.
Okay. Well, this is why I like to take the approach of I shouldn't call it sitting on a fence. It's about keeping in an open space, paying attention, looking at all the options, and it's okay to lean 60-40. It's okay to come back to 50-50. I just don't want to make any conclusive, affirmative statements on something that seems to have a lot more complexities. And Jungle Jair points that out. It is complicated. If you have 11 other activists on the boat, we can't possibly know for sure that all 12 of these people have this deal on paper and it's been handshaked and it's super clean and everything is locked in and it's one big 100% theater. We can't know that. So let's keep open-minded about what's really going on because things can get a little complicated that way. And so let's just be open to that. That's all I'm saying. So I think we can agree on that.
I mean, is it fence sitting to say you don't know? Like I can't.
No, it's not
a determination. I don't have enough evidence to.
I want to move on. I want to move on to some more comments, but it's never It's never fence sitting. It's never like, no, you cannot know something and be smarter about the topic than anyone else. And they tricked us into thinking that when you were an undecided voter, do you remember that undecided voter meant that you're an idiot, you're stupid, why can't you make up your mind?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
that we were taught that wrong. When you
Mhm.
don't commit, it means that you're taking more time to thinking about something and looking at it, and not just being on team whatever.
Look,
I don't care.
like
So
me.
no, we can take our time with these things. The Greta Thunberg situation is very interesting to me. It's something might be happening there.
I agree.
And that's why we put her in the show. There's no way I'm going to report on this and say I've made up my mind that she was a psyop before, so therefore she is now. I'm not going to say that 100%. I'm just not going to do it.
I'm with you.
For the comment, Jungle Jim.
Now, the undecided voter thing, since you brought it up, it's like I fall in that category, but I'm not undecided. I'm decidedly not voting for Republicans or Democrats.
Right, but then what are you going to do with it?
Decidedly abstaining.
Yeah. But then the undecided is
fall in with the undecideds.
So the undecided is, what do you do then if the third parties don't check out? And do you stay home? Do you write someone in? And do you go with the lesser of 3, 4, 5, third choice evils? What do you do? So we don't have to. We can say, you know what? I'm still looking at it. But you're right. We can say no to blue, no to red, but then still take our time. We can still actually take our time, even starting from that point. So I'm with you on that. Jayme.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. All right. So the next batch of things we had here were with Heartlands Media with Kit and Daniel.
Okay, let's be careful about this, but yes.
Yeah, we had a troll in the chat. I don't really want to share any of that stuff, mostly because it's an ongoing lawsuit, and I don't really want to compromise what they're doing. I feel like they're talking too much about it publicly, even if their lawyers told them it's okay to say what they're saying. And I think that's why when Kit talks about it, he's repeating the same things over and over and over. If you'll notice, it's because I think he believes that's all he's allowed to say.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they might have, the two of them together. I think there was definitely an adrenaline rush there that, hey, we got a chance to vent. So I appreciate that Craig was looking out for them and saying, hey guys, let's just be careful here. Because they have been careful. I got to tell you that we've been talking privately about it. They've been private. So they've been careful for sure. But yeah, there was definitely a little bit of an emotional adrenaline rush. And so I just want to say, I hope, and I think if you guys watch the replay, if you guys missed the interview, we will upload it. Certainly. I can stand behind everything we did here on our show. Other than there was a couple little technical issues about what to share, how to share it. I might edit some of that out, but I want it to be fluid. But what we represented in that interview was we just wanted a platform for people to understand that in our vicinity, there's people dealing with this kind of stuff. Yeah. And we're not trying to get into the personal details as much as we're saying, let's protect free speech and independent media as best as we can. That's it. That's all. We just wanted to connect people. And by the way, people who never heard of Heartlands Media, because they're new to our show. That's the conversation I had with Kit. I said, hey, we got all these new people that watched us interview Dr. David Martin. They've watched us do some stuff that maybe they weren't aware that we even existed here. And now they've signed up. We have got at least 500 new, probably 6 or 7. Actually, I think it's closer to 600 or 700.
Well, I can see the numbers
in the last week. Just since the interview with Dr. David Martin. And so I told Kit, these people might be interested in hearing that there is fights against a fight for free speech against censorship going on, not just in the medical freedom community.
It's not just censorship,
right?
It's not just censorship. I mean, we got to stand with them because they're also fighting against lawfare.
Yeah,
and it's like we got to show you lawfare. The way that they use it is tall chip stack just puts the small chip stack, pushes them out of the game, and it's like, well, you got to be able to win. You got to make it hurt the tall chip stack. It's like you can't just bully people with lawfare. Well, you can, but we got to show that it's very risky. I mean, if you don't win, it's going to cost you. Because I think from what we know, and we can't talk about, they do look like they have a strong case. And if they are able to see it all the way through, then they're going to win. And it's going to cost the other guys who've been putting them through this for all these years a lot of money. Okay, but they have to have the money up front to be able to fight the fight, which is a really horrible system of justice.
But guys, go to the GoFundMe, look up, it comes right up, GoFundMe.com, Heartlands Media. go help support. If you guys were affected by this conversation in any way, you want to be part of this, go help these guys out. In the meantime, yeah, we're not going through all the negative comments that came up because we had some trolls. We had a troll. It happened.
Well, there were positive comments too. I do want to bring these up because these are not about Kit and Daniels. This is about a similar thing, and I think we can talk about it. So this is from Jungle Jer. Once I was sued for 16 bars in my album that sounded like a different artist because we collaborated once a long time ago.
Jeez.
My CD was already released, and so to avoid the courts, I had to settle, quote unquote, by re-recording those 16 bars and re-releasing the entire album. It cost me thousands.
Yeah.
The trauma from the stress is real, guys. I totally forgot about that old lawsuit, but I'm just seeing it in these guys where they're in this state, and it reminds me of it. Dang. So Jerry, Jungle Jer went through this some years ago, and he's relating it. And the part that I thought was important on this comment was the one on the screen right now where he's talking about the trauma. And like you guys have met. I haven't actually met Kit and Daniel in person before, but
we've been.
I have not.
Oh, okay. I thought
you guys did. And I've talked with them both behind the scenes several times, and when they're not on the air, you can just this trauma has been affecting them for months, years actually, but I've only seen it for months, and they're really being put through the ringer, and the stress that they're being put through is so stressful. It pours out onto you, like just listening to it. And if you empathize with them, you'll feel that burden that the stress they're going through. And it infuriates you that the system works the way that it does.
Yeah.
And I can relate to Daniel too. Like he's struggling being able to find work. So the only work he can find is by having his own company where, and then it's hard for him to get clients because these other people that they're in this suit with keep trying to subvert his traffic, or Daniel suspects that's what's happening. And there's a very little way to prove it, but that's what they call suing for damages for, right?
If you're trying to smear somebody on social media, that you're in the middle of litigations against, then my guess is, and this is just my general hypothesis on this, that nothing to do with their particular case. I would just say you're probably on the side that isn't as solid, because if you had a solid case, why would you need to waste your effing time trolling people in their personal lives? Why don't you just stick to the facts of the case? That seems to me to be the difference between these two in this situation, and like that's the difference. You don't see Kit and Daniel like they're trying to stick to the case, and meanwhile they have to deal with personal, like they're not going and trolling their podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not going on their socials and doing stuff. So clearly, if you're at that point, if you're out there right now and you're in the middle of, I think I froze.
You froze, but we could still hear you.
I'm coming in and going to come out here. Hold on.
Okay. I'm going to move on to the next comment. There's a couple more on this subject. I'll stick to that. Okay. So All Sentient Beings said, wow, guys, I can't imagine the emotional turmoil all of you go through doing your thing and getting sued. Jesus. And I'm glad you used Jesus in that. I feel honored in that. But yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. You feel the emotional stress that they're going through. It really is so taxing. It pours out onto other people. And if you imagine yourself in their shoes, what they're going through, it's not, our legal system is the punishment, whether you win or lose. It's a punishing system for people.
Yeah.
All right. And one more. So Molly Littlebird said, it's a tool these people use to silence free speech. So I think this kind of goes in also with lawfare and also with some of the other subjects we're talking about. But this came in during the Hardlands media section. So I think it's the fact that she's talking about like the trolls that come into like the chats and stuff. And like Daniel was talking about it, and right when he talked about it, they popped up in our chat.
That's right.
And I think really the best way to deal with them is to just ignore them. I think even banning them is probably a bad idea unless they're really
Oh,
attacking
you know what?
people. If they're attacking people in the chat,
That's I
you gotta go.
realized that. That's the line they I was waiting for
Didn't
that.
go.
Didn't happen. So I was like, you know what? You can run your mouth if you want, as long as you're not attacking anybody
Yeah.
of our viewers. Once you start attacking our viewers, you are the hell out. You are gone. You are
Yeah.
out.
And we didn't ban them.
So
We
good.
didn't. So,
Okay.
I
Good.
mean, but the best thing to do when you got something is just ignore them,
Yeah.
especially in a open lawsuit. Like, so I just feel weird just even talking about that
Yeah.
stuff. I know they need to because they got to raise funds, so they got to say something.
Yeah.
But it's an awkward position to be in. I don't envy them at all.
So let's just get a few in from after the conversation with Kit and Daniel, and then we gotta wrap it up soon. I want to do one more quick story, and then we're gonna wrap it. So
very well. I was reading your mind. So moving on to the big beautiful bill. This comment from Molly Lillybird. So Marjorie Taylor Greene voted for it and never read it, because you put up the tweets where she said, "I didn't see that part." Yeah, because she didn't read it. But the other points were made. They pushed this bill through so fast, and they did it in the middle of the night, not giving most congressmen the chance to read it. Now, we know even if they had 2 weeks to read it, most of them still wouldn't have read it. But I can give them a pass because, it really was thrown on their desk and they were expected to vote on it right away.
This is how our system is designed, folks. This is how it works. This is not the first time.
I wish I had the meme ready. The old Schoolhouse Rocks with the "How does a bill get passed?" And there's like a new meme where it's just the bill and he's handing some guy a wad of money.
Yeah.
But
hey, at least Marjorie Taylor Greene admitted it out loud. I'm glad she said, "Hey, I didn't read it." So she was being honest about that. So there you go.
I mean, I like her. I like how candid she can be sometimes. And like, I don't agree with a lot of her politics, but I do like the way she politics. And she does seem to be sincere when she wants to represent her constituents more so than other people are. And I appreciate that, even though I think what her constituents want is completely wrong. But she's there to do that. Like Thomas Massey is too. He's looking out for his constituents. So as you can see this, Massey didn't vote for it, so it can't be good. And this is from "A Dingo Ate My Baby." Yes.
Well, this has been Talking Back with Jayme's Cheese Slice. Thanks for
thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thanks everyone. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Jayme.